Okay, now we've got that done. So here's what we know. We know that we have 2 feet of post in the ground, and we know that I want the bottom of the mailbox at 3 feet tall. So that means the bottom of the mailbox is going to be equal to the top of the cross piece coming off my post. So we're going to notch the post and we're going to notch the cross piece so that they fit together and make a nice tight joint, and so therefore I will not have to put in any kind of 45-degree angle support or metal bracing or angles of any kind. So let's see what we got. We got, first of all, let me take a look at this piece of wood. I think I'll do it from this direction. So I am, okay, you can see that, can't you? So 3 feet is going to be the top of the cross brace. So this is also going to be the top of my notch. So I'm going to make a mark right here. And then we measure across on this, and it is about 3 5/8, which is what it should be, because even though it says it's a 4x4, that's a nominal dimension. What it is, the reason it is that way, and let me measure this off first, you always use your 1-inch mark as your mark because you can't trust that, but you can trust your 1-inch mark. I know it's a little bit off, so, but I line that mark up on 4 5/8 and make my mark at the 1-inch mark. That gives us 3 5/8. Anyway, when sawmills cut wood, they cut it to the dimension it's supposed to be. In other words, when you get a piece of lumber from a sawmill and they cut it, it is 4 inches wide. Well, I don't know if it's exactly 4 inches wide, but it's more than 3 5/8. And then, of course, what they do is they run the pieces of wood through planers to get they get 4 finished sides. Of course, this is run through a planer and some kind of edging thing too, because it's not square. Most lumber is fairly square. Well, maybe it's not. Some lumber is fairly square. Hey, what can I say? So now what I'm going to do, I've got my 2 marks here. We know this is 3 5/8. I'm going to cut a notch from here to here, all the way across the board. 3 5/8 divided by 2, which is what? 3 5/8 divided by 2. 1 3/4 plus a 1/16. So 1 13/16 inches deep. And so I'm going to turn my. And the tricky part with this is, of course, my saw does not make a flat cut. So this is going to be just a tad off, but I'm not terribly concerned about it. But I'm going to continue these lines around just for reference. Just for reference. So I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to hook that, and I'm going to go 1 13/16, which is just one little mark past the 3/4 inch there. See, this is where things get a little tricky. This is why it's hard to do precision work on wood. Well, of course, if I had a new piece of wood, it'd be different. And then I'm just going to lay a mark across there. And that is how deep I'm going to run my chop saw blade. Now it's going to be a tad deeper on the backside because of the circumference of the blade and the fact that the body of the saw pivots at a fixed point, but it's going to be, just looking at it, it's going to be pretty good. It's not going to be too far off. And like I said, we're not doing cabinetry here. We're just doing a fence post. I mean a mailbox post. So, alrighty, let me do that and I'll show you. Let me see, maybe we've got that one marked. I want to have, can we see this? Oh yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's get this piece out of the way. Ooh, it's heavy. It's heavy because it's been sitting in wet leaves. And it's gotten a lot of water in it, but it's okay. So we've got the back side. I want to leave. Now it's going to be hard to, hold on a second. Let me adjust this a little bit here. Oh yeah, that'll be good. So I want to leave 4 inches on the back side. And then of course we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 5/8 again. And then we'll make our marks. And then we'll make our, let me see, I'm going to want to, and this is just a matter of convenience for me, just given the way the saw's set up. I always, you know, I'm right-handed, so I want to work left to right. So 1 3/4 plus. And 1 3/4 plus just a tad. There we go. We'll get our depth set on that. There we go. Okay, so now this is the part that's coming out. I should have marked that on the other one too, but it doesn't matter. You know, there's no doing a little job like this. There is no wrong way to lay these out because it's always going to work in the end. The only thing I'm concerned about is I want this nice finish end facing back towards the house. The other end's not great, but I'll probably go ahead and just trim that off. Alrighty, let's get these cut and I'll show you what we got. All right, so here's what we've got. It would have been better to do this with a circular saw actually, but I just didn't feel like dragging it out. But as you can see, we have our notch on this side. It's a little bit deep. See, got some radius to that cut down there. I probably could have cut that about 1/8 of an inch shallower and it would have been better. You got your notch on the other one. So then all you do, whoops. This is going to be kind of tough to catch. But anyway, the whole point, okay, I guess you can see that. The whole point is that one notch fits into the other. Like so. And then you pound it. I've already pounded it in once and taken it back apart. So, yeah, that's pretty good. The whole point is to make a fairly good rigid, and so once I get that 90-degree angle, so once I get that pounded in there again and screwed off, it's going to make a nice tight joint. Not, you know, not the greatest thing in the world, but certainly serviceable, and, you know, it's going to last, you know, hopefully another 20 years. So let me get this thing pounded back together and screw it together, and I'll show you what we got. Okay, we're back, and here is, oh gosh, this whole home video thing's a little bit harder than it looks. Okay, so there you go. You got your joint. As you can see, yeah, I could have cut it a little bit shallower, but this joint is not going anywhere. And the good thing is the screws are just holding the two pieces of wood together. They're not providing any support for that, for the cross piece. The cross piece is totally supported because it's tight inside that notch. And so that's what we were after. And that's what we got. Okay, we're going to go stick this thing in the hole. Get some concrete in there. See if we can get this finished up.